What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of The Jump. A quick midweek episode, kind of a little week one cleanup, but it's more looking towards week two. And I do have a couple more segments in mind going forward. That'll be more up-to-date question type things, a Q&A type thing. So, there'll be more stuff coming soon. But for this week, I really just have the Heisman rankings and then the games to look forward to for week two. So, college football is in full effect, and it's been absolutely amazing so far. We've had two incredible weeks. I hope you all have enjoyed it as much as I have because it's been absolutely incredible. So, we'll start out with my Heisman list because this one is the one, the Heisman list is the one that definitely gets the most attention, and it is absolutely, just brutal to try to make at this time, in week two, because a lot of these guys haven't played great competition or they've played one good team or something, and it's impossible to make. So I do have a few honorable mentions before I get into it that I need to mention that didn't make my list that probably will at some point this year. Sawyer Robertson at Baylor. Now, this guy, this one is the one that hurts the most to leave off as of right now because through 2 weeks he has balled out. Mainly the second one versus SMU. This crazy, chaotic game this past week. But Sawyer Robertson I left off. Joey Aguilar, Tennessee. This one, it's tough to leave off, but I don't think he necessarily deserves to be on a spot anywhere above these guys that I already have. Arch Manning I left off. I think that's more of a he'll probably be on there in the future. It's just a little slow start for him. Drew Aller, he just hasn't played anybody. He'll get a big test coming up soon in 17 days from when this is being filmed. But he's going to put up good numbers, and he'll probably play pretty good against the Big Ten the entire year. Taylon Green at Arkansas, he's been incredible. I know they haven't played anybody, but really, 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 really good numbers against bad opponents is still very impressive. And then Caleb Downs, that's the one defensive guy that I think needs a big shout out. So Caleb Downs has been really good for Ohio State this year. And obviously he's got the big name and people were looking towards him coming into the year, but I think he's been better than what people had advertised. Now, getting into my top 10. At 10, I have Thomas Castellanos. He's just brought the juice back to Florida State. Through 2 games, obviously this past one, they put up absolute numbers like East Texas A&M or something. Really good numbers, but like I said, they probably don't win the Alabama game without him, and it wasn't even that he put up insane numbers. It's just the control that he had over the game. And I think a guy at a brand like that with a team that can win the conference, I think Tommy Castellanos has to be on here through 2 weeks. Cade Klubnik. Now, this is the one that gets a lot of people's attention because everybody loves to hate on Cade Klubnik and loves to hate on Clemson. This one I feel like is very necessary because this is one that is kind of looking forward. I think he'll end up being on there by the time it's all said and done. But as of right now, people look through 2 games and they're 1-1 with a snuck out win versus Troy and a loss at home to LSU. So, but he still played good in both of those. So I think he definitely deserves to be on there. Carson Beck, he's been incredible for Miami so far. Much more poised than I thought he was going to be. Just throwing the ball on a rope, getting it to his guys, and letting them make plays. Very efficient. So he's been really good this year so far through 2 games. And excited to see him with Miami this year. He's going to be a lot of fun all year. Number 7, Garrett Nussmeier, the guy that I had number 1 last week, but he fell. Not that he even played that bad. I think a lot of these guys that jumped him really just exceeded expectations going into week 2. Nuss is a guy that'll be there all year as well. He was very highly talked about in the offseason. Certainly a lot of people picked him as their Heisman winner in the preseason, so I have him 7. I have Jonah Coleman 6. Now, he's one of them that I left off last week, and it just hurt so bad to leave off. Now he's on the list, and he had a 5-touchdown game this past week against, they played UC Davis, maybe? I don't remember who they played. It was obviously a bad team, but I think he had a 4-touchdown first half, maybe. One of the best running backs in the entire country. If you haven't watched Jonah Coleman, you got to watch. I think he's very deserving of being on the Heisman list. So I have him 6th. Jackson Arnold at Auburn, 5. He's played, they had the good Baylor game where he was running all over them, and then they played Ball State, and he obviously didn't play the whole time because they were just killing them. But, yeah, he's been awesome so far. I've just loved to watch him play. To this point, I think he's deserving of being on this list. And obviously, he's one of them that also drew some attention. The rest above this, I don't think anybody's really argued about. But I have seen a lot of hate on Jackson Arnold, but I think he's very deserving of being there. Number 4, Lenore Sellers. He'll get a big test this week. Vandy game. It's going to be awesome. But we'll see what he's able to do. He's been incredible. I think the speed flex Lenore is just a different man. Like this dude. I don't know what it is. People were talking about. I think it was CD Lamb, where now he's wearing. Maybe he's wearing an F7 now, and he used to wear Speed Flex, and people want the Speed Flex back. But obviously, it doesn't affect anything. But it's just the aura factor. Like now that Caleb Williams is wearing like a Visus now for the Bears. Like it's just all the different things that, as just dumb football fans, we notice, and we're just like, all right, what in the world? So, Speed Flex Lenoris, Heisman contender, special player, Cam Newton. Like that's just what he looks like. He's been great so far. Like I said, big test this week. And big test coming up as they'll get into conference play. Number 3, Jeremiah Smith, the best receiver in the country, showed out last week. Obviously, it was Grambling State. Anybody could really show out, but what he was able to do, incredible game, 2 touchdowns, and just dominated and didn't even play the whole time. So Jeremiah Smith is number 3 for me. Number 2, Devin Dampier at Utah. He's been absolutely incredible. Now he's out there on the West Coast. Not a whole lot of people are paying attention to Devin Dampier and the Utah Utes so far, especially they haven't really played anybody yet. But, that's disrespectful because they played UCLA. But he played really good in that one. Then came home, played a lower tier school, and then beat them pretty handily too. So Devin Dampier's been incredible. And then number 1 that jumped up my list big time, he had the big marquee game of week 2 and played absolutely incredible in it, John Mateer at Oklahoma. So I think Mateer's got to be 1 right now. He had the Heisman plays that really just stand out, and he's gonna be like that right there all year. And if you look at just the play calling that Ben Arbuckle has for him is just the most continuity that a player coach can have. It feels like everything Ben Arbuckle has, it's perfectly executed by John Mateer, and it's at the perfect timing. It's amazing to see. So John Mateer is number 1 for me. I did see somebody say that the Ben Arbuckle and John Mateer duo reminds him a lot of Lincoln Riley, Baker Mayfield. And I guess you could say that a little bit. Obviously, Mateer is a little bit bigger than Baker, I would assume. But you can get those flashbacks. Obviously, wearing the same uniforms helps a lot. But, other than that, they play very similar. They have, they're the exact same height. They're both 6'1". But they both just have these flashy plays that just stand out where, in the Michigan game where John Mateer, there's a free rusher and he sees it, and I think he either stepped up, stepped back, whatever, and just makes the play to get outside. There was a few where he would get outside and throw downfield last minute or go upfield. There was he had a couple jukes, whatever, got out of bounds. He was just incredible last week, and I think that's enough to hoist him number 1. And obviously right now, like I said, they're 2 weeks. These lists will change so much every single week, but about halfway through the year will become consistent. And if you go look at my Heisman rankings from last year on all my social media, they did end up becoming pretty consistent. The 6 through 10 will change a little bit, but those top guys tend to stay the same. So that's my top right now. I know Tommy Castellanos, he's lower than most people have him. I just need to see more numbers-wise from him. It's not a stat book game, but I'm going to need to see something, just a little bit more. But all of these guys have been incredible. Obviously, these are some of the best players in the entire country, so it's saying something. They're all right there for me in the Week 2 Heisman rankings. So comment, let me know what you all would change and what you think I was wrong on, or who is being left off that should be on there. But I don't know if you all saw the stat. I don't remember completely who put it out, but every year that ends with 5, I think it was back to like 65, a running back won the award. And right now, I have one running back on mine, Jonah Coleman. Now, Isaac Brown, Jeremiah Love, there's going to be, Justice Haynes has been incredible so far. There's going to be some really good running backs in the country. And, I mean, if it happens again, I don't know what the secret about it is, but like it'll be kind of spooky if another one wins it, because none of them were necessarily high in the preseason rankings for Heisman. So, but yeah, that's my list. That's my top 10. Like I said, comment. Let me know what you all would change on that list so far. I just think that's kind of the list from my perspective right now. So let's get into these week 3 matchups. I might have said week 2 earlier. Week 3 matchups. We'll start out noon Saturday. I'm not going to talk about a ton of games this week. Not that it's down, but there's not as much flair outside of a couple. Number 12 Clemson at Georgia Tech. Clemson is currently a 3.5-point favorite. This one is very, very interesting. I'm not going to give betting tips, but I think I may go Clemson 3.5. I think this is going to be the week that, I think last week there's like a, I think Clemson lacked a prove it mindset, and prove that you are who you are. And I think they have the identity that they like know who they are, which can be to a fault at times, like it was last week, where they think they can just show up and win a certain game. But when they're going into it with the mindset of like, all right, we are now looked at it as frauds and preseason overrated and all of this, I think Clemson gets their offense going this week. I think Clemson goes in there to Georgia Tech and rolls. So that one's going to be, that's a fun one. It's obviously an early season ACC matchup. And two teams that are legit threats in that conference to win it. So that'll be a lot of fun. Noon on Saturday. Also noon on Saturday, Wisconsin at Alabama. This game was ugly last year. I predict it will probably be ugly again. Alabama's a 21.5-point favorite. It's the two big brands, the W versus the A, two awesome, iconic logos. But I think Alabama probably rolls, and I hope to see Ty Simpson look as good as what he did last week. Obviously, that's going to be insane because he was historically good. But I do think overall a good Ty Simpson performance will be very important for Alabama in this one. And then obviously I don't know if Ryan Williams, I don't know what his current status is, but getting him back would be absolutely massive for them as well. At 4:30, we will have USF at Miami, which is now a ranked matchup. Number 18 USF at number 5 Miami. Miami's a 17.5-point favorite. The conversations will get interesting. We'll just put it that way. If USF can win this game, the conversations about USF are going to be crazy. That will be a legit top 8 team in the country, in my opinion. Like, they will have the best resume in college football. And a win at number 5 Miami. Nobody's going to have a better resume in the country than that. And that would legit hoist them into playoff lock scenarios. And it'd be wild. Obviously, they can't just glance over the AAC, but like going into the AAC with those wins already, you can buy yourself a little ground. Obviously, you would hope they wouldn't lose in conference, but anything can happen there. But yeah, if they can even compete in this game, I think it's gonna be very, very impressive. And that one will be on the CW network. I saw somebody say something on Twitter about like this may be the biggest game in CW network history. Probably so. Probably so. That game's going to be absolutely incredible. So going to 7 o'clock, Arkansas at Ole Miss. Like I mentioned, Taylon Green, very, very good this year. Ole Miss, a couple slow starts, but they're 2-0. Number 17 in the country. This one's going to be a fun one. Very, very high scoring. Over-under set at 16.5 right now. Ole Miss is a 6.5-point favorite. It would not shock me if Arkansas goes on there and wins, but I'm not going to pick it. But I wouldn't be shocked if Arkansas covers that with a loss. When it's all said and done. 7:30, Florida LSU. This one is obviously big for the brand. This one's going to be ugly, though, I think. LSU's a 7.5-point favorite. I might go heavy on LSU in this one. Night game, Death Valley. I don't know what you want. Like that, it seems like a death wish for Florida going in there. Not that they have no chance to win, but I'm giving them little to no chance. But they're only a touchdown underdog, so obviously the betting odds are decent for the Gators going in there. The big one, that's the rematch in the second half of the home and home from last year. Number 16 Texas A&M going to number 8 Notre Dame, a Notre Dame team who is winless. Obviously, they're only one game in, but a Texas A&M team that doesn't fully know what it looks like for Marcel Reed yet. So that makes it even more interesting. I thought Texas A&M would kind of go in there and maybe win, just based on how Notre Dame looked week 1. But now things get interesting. I think it's going to be an awesome game. Currently, the line is Notre Dame 6.5. I think this one's going to be similar to last year. I think it's going to be low-ish scoring. I don't remember the exact total from last year, but I think it's going to be on the lower end, honestly. I think the over-under set at 50.5. I think it'll be comfortably under that. But that one's just going to be one to watch because it's two teams that have legit playoff hopes, but they're going to have to get rolling now. And Notre Dame is in a dangerous spot where they can't really afford to lose another one. Because if they drop another one, they're going to drop even farther, and they're not going to have enough wins on their schedule, I think, to propel them to where they could end up being where they want to be when it's all said and done. 7:45, Vanderbilt at South Carolina. This one's interesting because South Carolina's a 5.5-point favorite. That line's moved a lot. It would not shock me if Vandy goes in there and wins. South Carolina's not looked impressive. This is the game of the Virginia Tech killers. Like South Carolina beat Virginia Tech week 1. Vandy went and beat Virginia Tech game 2. Now, if you look at it from that perspective, you got to go heavy Vandy because South Carolina won. It was a weird score. It was like 26-11, 28-11. Well, I don't remember what the score was, but they do that neutral site. Vandy wins 44-20 at Virginia Tech. So if you're going from that perspective where you're just attaching all the different things, you're probably thinking heavy Vandy. Now, South Carolina home games. I do another podcast, a Kentucky podcast with a buddy, and we had some former players on, and they've played at Bama, they've played at Death Valley, they've played at Oklahoma, the Rose Bowl, they played at Ohio State, and they said South Carolina night games are the hardest place to play in the entire country. And if that is the case, I've never been to one, but if that's the case, I don't see Vandy going in there and winning. So the points are tough for me here. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not giving betting advice, but that line is the right line to me. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be right around that line. But you all comment below and let me know what you think. Now to game day. 3:30, ABC. Number 6, Georgia versus number 15, Tennessee. A team that in Tennessee is now extremely high on their coach coming off a playoff win and then being, if you're talking to a Tennessee fan and you're talking to them where they have the truth serum put in them, they were nervous about Joey Aguilar going into the season. Now, a couple games in, they're not nervous. They won that breakup with Nico. They chucked up deuces and said, get up out of here. Joey Aguilar's been the guy. This is one of the best coaches in the country in recent years versus a guy that has been very, very established in Kirby Smart that couldn't get over the hump until he did, won a couple titles, and has had one of the most consistent programs in all of America. And a team that didn't look great last week, looked all right week 1. Gunnar Stockton, the Georgia kid leading the troops here into Rocky Top. They're playing at Neyland. This is the Georgia team that has won 8 straight games versus Tennessee. And the most interesting stat to me, Tennessee under Josh Heupel versus all other SEC teams averages 34.4 points per game. Against Georgia, they average 14.3. Tennessee has yet to score more than 17 points versus Georgia under Josh Heupel. Kirby Smart's got this man's number. Even when they were at the best of the best a couple years ago, they went down there and Georgia dismantled them. Their last one was the Josh Dobbs just crazy game in Sanford. Kirby has owned this program. We get the G versus the T on Saturday, 3:30. It is going to be absolutely electric. Now, Tennessee's down a couple DBs. Those have been the news this week. They're down a couple starting DBs in a secondary that I wasn't too fond on already. Georgia's a 3.5-point favorite right now. I thought that was a generous line. I thought they would probably give it to Tennessee, being where that it's a 3:30 Tennessee home game. I mean, that Neyland, I have experienced Neyland. It's, from what I've seen, second to none. And Tennessee's going to have a massive game here, obviously. This is going to be a sold-out, crazy crowd with the hopes of beating Georgia for the first time in almost a decade. And Joey Aguilar, he's going to have to sling it all over the field. They're going to have to be able to throw all over this team. And it's going to be absolutely incredible. 3:30 on Saturday. So that's the one that people need to get hyped up for the most, I think. This one, that's where game day is headed. 3:30 ABC. I'll put out my picks on Friday. You all will be seeing this on Wednesday. Or it will be released Wednesday. Watch it when you're able, obviously. But this weekend's going to be awesome. Week 3, we're getting into conference play. There's a few conference games already, and then there's some out-of-conference games. So it's going to be a blast. I'm excited for it. Like I said, there will be new segments coming up soon. But I'm excited for this weekend. I can't wait. Hope you all are as excited as I am. If you made it to this point in the video, thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your week ahead of this college football weekend that we've got on the cusp. It's right here, week 3, going forward. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe, all the good stuff. Thank you for tuning in. Peace.